It's now time for Me and My Roku with your host, Peter Clay. We're in trouble if Roku's in trouble.
Who's your guy?
Peter.
So we have a voicemail now from Peter.
This is my brother Peter.
Not everybody sounds like Peter Clay.
Pete, you are not.
Peter Clay is here today.
Holy crap, it's Peter.
Oh, I love Peter.
Don't you want to know where Peter is today?
Good luck tonight, Peter.
Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome to another sizzling, challenging, and revealing episode of Me and My Roku. I'm your host, Peter Clay. Welcome aboard. It's good to be with you today, the first day of autumn at the time of this recording. By the time you get this, it might already be winter or spring even. So, either or of the equinox here. Either way, whether you're listening right away or years from now as part of the Internet Archive, hey, welcome to have you here. This is the podcast where I go through what I do in the streaming universe with my Roku, my Apple TVs, my Google TVs, my tablets. It's getting crazier and crazier, and with all the news that I have today, it's just going to get even crazier for me. So that's why I had to take a few days off. If you are subscribed to this podcast, please do on all major platforms. I will go through the whole list at the end of the program. But please check this out, because I will do a daily news, notes, and stuff podcast every day, daily, whenever I feel like it, basically. And then every week or two or so, or whenever I feel like it, every 3 days maybe, when I get a whole pile of stuff like I have today, we do a big show for you here. And I get to go through all my stuff, and I get to do little sound effects. I get to have fun, and that's what I do. I do this for fun. Streaming is fun. Recording podcasts is fun. And so I like to share that with you. So I just do what I do. Okay? I'm not here to preach or teach or anything along those lines. And if you encompass that knowledge that I kind of give you, if it strikes something in you, oh my gosh, all the better for everything. I get to spew out words. You get to take in information and decide for yourself what you want to do. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you what to do. It's a beautiful thing. If you would like to be a part of this program, you may. I enjoy that stuff. Because I'm starting to get notes here and there and all that stuff. People recommending things, of course. And also telling me, is this working for you? It's okay. It's not easy, but it's not hard, and that's why I like to come and share information with you. Hey, I have got a lot of stuff to get to here, so let's get started.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Okay. Well, on Me and My Roku here, we actually have news from Roku. What a concept, huh? The one thing that this podcast was based on, we actually have some announcements. Yes, Roku has announced a rollout of Roku OS 10.5. And says the new operating system will begin rolling out to Roku devices in the coming weeks. Roku OS 10.5 includes new features that will place live TV content front and center and help users get the most from Roku Voice. The new OS allows new surround sound configurations, new voice control options, and updates to the Roku mobile app. Okay. Some of this is we're going to have to wait and see type of thing. They don't say what devices are going to be like. Is my Roku 3 going to be able to get 10.5? So I'm holding on to dear life because that is my most treasured Roku of all time. So I'm assuming the Roku Ultra and the Roku soundbar are going to be fine because they're within a year old. So that it'll be interesting. Voice, don't know, don't care really. I mean, I use my voice for this. But do I like really going with my voice all the time? Sometimes I just like my thumbs. I have opposable thumbs. I still like to use those. So, we'll see. I remain open-minded, but not so much that my brain falls out. So, the Roku OS is purpose-built for streaming TV and our laser focus deliver updates that will impact and make streaming easier for a wide variety of customers. That is Ilya Aceness, the Senior Vice President of Roku OS. Good. So, also, they'll be coming out with new devices, a new streaming stick 4K, and the Roku streaming stick 4K Plus. And why not? There will also be a new Roku Ultra LT that you get at Walmart exclusively. That'll come out later in the fall. Like I said, as long as my Roku 3 is doing okay and will allow the updates, I'm okay, I think. And I got the soundbar and the Roku Ultra, my two other favorite devices. So the live TV channel guide for streaming players, it looks like it's just the Roku channel. And then you'll be able to put that in the front along with your app. So we'll have to see. I'm actually kind of a little intrigued about that. I know some of the knocks on Roku is just a collection of apps. You know, they want more, like your shows or the things that you left off on, you know, like some of the other devices have. To me, I like simplicity. I just want to go to the app. I was like, if I want to, I know what I'm watching on HBO Max, I want to go to HBO Max. I know what I'm watching on Amazon Prime, boom, I go to Amazon Prime. Bing, bang, boom, you get my drift. So it'll be interesting to see. Live TV is getting more interesting all the time. I get headlines all the time saying Pluto's added this and oh, this is added to that, and oh my gosh, it's going crazy. So, like I said, the Roku Voice direct playback of Netflix and Spotify. So that will be interesting. And then the big update is going to be on the Roku mobile app, which we basically be able to do whatever you need right now. If you didn't get the new remote that they just put out, it's all going to be available on the app as long as more convenient content discovery. So, and then the other thing that might be interesting for my soundbar is this setting where I can do more surround sounds. It's sound configuration, they're calling it. The Streambar soundbar will now have access to additional speaker configurations with the introduction of 3.1 and 5.1 stereo surround capability. So that'll be interesting to see. We have actually kind of a small room. It's a little too big for the soundbar. We probably should have waited for the stream bar, but I didn't have time or patience to deal with anything along those lines. So interesting stuff there from Roku. Now, if any of this stuff sounds kind of familiar, we just had rollouts. Well, not rollouts, but announcements from Amazon and from Google, both things of having live TV kind of on their UI, and also new streaming sticks. I mean, the Chromecast just came out from Google earlier in the year, and in a couple of weeks here, this 4K stick from Amazon. So, is Roku in trouble? I was listening to a podcast the other day. I won't mention their name. They know who they are. And one of the co-hosts was kind of insinuating that, do I want to be Roku right now? And the other co-host was kind of like, did you hear what I just announced? Do you see what they're doing for advertising? Do you see all the content that they're getting? And I was like, well, so I'm going to hold off a little bit on how I really feel about that question when I go through the next two segments here, and then I'll have a real definitive answer to that question. Is Roku in trouble, and would you want to be Roku right now? So in the meantime, new announcements, new stuff coming out, even private listening for streaming players wirelessly, all coming on the new Rokus. I'm really interested in the 10.5. That will be interesting, so we'll have more stuff for our Rokus here on Me and My Roku. Okay, a new free streaming app from Hearst Television is looking to help make local news more accessible. Now, before I give out the name of the app, okay, and before we criticize the name, let's give it a little credit here, because at least it doesn't have a plus in it, okay? Very Local is an over-the-top and connected TV platform with content from 26 areas across 39 states, including Baltimore, Greensboro, and Omaha. Yes, 26 cities. New Orleans, Milwaukee is the closest to me. Monterey, Salinas, close to another part of my hometown area. Tampa Bay, Des Moines, Birmingham, Jackson, Mississippi, Orlando. So, those interested in checking out a very local for the feed sales. This is just the local news and local programming. Okay, this will be my last take on the whole Locast thing, which would give you 24/7 programming of all the TV stations in your area, which was shut down permanently by a judge. They have the right to appeal, but it doesn't look like they have the backing anymore of the backers that they had previously that kept things going for them in the round. So, Hearst, a good job. We use View It because that's what has the TV stations in our market, and I guess Stir from the Sinclair group if you have a Sinclair station in your area. There's been some criticism, just some takes about Locast saying that it's sad that they did everything right. They crossed the T's, dotted the I's, and all that stuff. And I can't disagree more with that take on it. I like what Locast could be, like the thought of it, but I don't think there's any way you can do it without it being a service and have it cost them. You can't do it for free and trying to do some nonprofit. Unless there's something in that 1976 clause that they can get on. One thing that bothered me, and it just made me feel icky from the start of it, is the interrupting every 15 minutes for donation. This is the 21st century now. There's email blasts, there's Facebook pages, there's, all these different things. You take donations, from Facebook and social media and Instagram, anything. But they interrupted it. That's a service then. The other one I question on, this is what I would appeal on, is that they were taking the money from the donations then and then using that to open up in new markets. Now, I look at that and say, I run a successful nonprofit here in Madison, Wisconsin. Okay, I run it to the tilt and all that stuff. I'm doing great. I want to now branch out to St. Louis, Missouri, or Monterey, California, or somewhere. And I can't take what I've taken from there to there. I have to start anew and then take. So that's interesting. I don't know that because I don't do a nonprofit. This is nonprofit, but that's a different thing. This is labor of love. So anyway, if you're in those 26, check it out. Very local, available on all the streaming platforms. Apple, Amazon, and our dearly beloved Roku. Check it out today. Very local for just your local news and content. That's still around. There's also View It and Stir. Check it out today on your Roku here on Me and My Roku. Okay, big segment here because I got big stories from the big players in streaming. Oh yes, these are the big boys, the big dogs, all coming out with news and notes and stuff. Disney CEO Bob Chapek warned on Tuesday of lower long-term subscriber growth for the fourth quarter. Oh my gosh, it did send Disney stock down a little bit. Of course, there was a little bit of a flash crash there earlier in the week. We are still very confident about our long-term sub growth as we have been in quarter four. I think we can expect to think that our global paid subs will increase by a lower single-digit millions of subscribers versus quarter three. He admitted the surge in COVID-19 cases from the Delta variant around the world likely played a part in the lower numbers. So what you're saying is they're still growing, but because there was a variant in the COVID-19, people kind of calming down a little bit, more people got on. So the people that have it already have it. It's kind of hard to keep going. There's only so much you really can do. It's basically what he's saying. So which means the numbers are good. They're just not going to be as good. And some people freak out about that stuff. And others like this who still have the service, who are very happy with it, thought about briefly for a second, maybe pausing it for a little while because they get so much other stuff. Now that it's football season, sports season, all that stuff. So Disney, they'll be fine. I don't think we need to have a yard sale or a bazaar or anything to help them out. I think they're going to be okay. Comcast CEO, Hulu agreement complicates Peacock Strategy. Comcast CEO Brian Roberts is incredibly bullish on Peacock and the streaming future for NBC Universal Films. Unlike some streamers like Disney Plus or HBO Max that guard their films, NBC Universal has a unique schedule that allows for Peacock exclusivity with a middle window where the films are sold to other services. Yay! Basically what he's saying is, we know, we have our own network here, but we're a big conglomerate here, and it's no good just trying to hold it on to ourselves. That only can do so much. When they do own a third of Hulu, he admits that. They may get out of it someday, but all of their content that they've done all this time still resides on Hulu. So the biggest and the best, most relevant part of our content, at least from television, are licensed away, and that can change over time. Of course, we own a third of Hulu, so we're looking at each successive decision as how to invest in Peacock versus what I just said previously, continue to invest in other people's platforms. It's good to have options. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. Have lots of baskets. Viacom CBS does that too. Oh, did I say Viacom? Oh, yes. Viacom CBS launches Showtime and Paramount Plus bundle, $9.99 a month. That's with the ads on Paramount Plus. If you want no ads, $12.99. Now, I had a similar plan through Apple that bundled the both of them together. Now, you had to do it within the Apple app then, which was kind of weird to begin with, but not bad. But if you just want that, Viacom CBS. Now, what does all of this mean? Well, remember what I said earlier? It's like, when I want to be Roku, just... Is Roku in trouble? Did you see what those three guys are doing there? They're all doing something. They're all trying to justify their $1 million salaries right there. What do you mean, is Roku in trouble? They need Roku. Do you think they want to do the business with Amazon and Google and what's that other? Apple, and have them take 30% of everything that they do? I'm not yelling. Am I yelling? No. That's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Now. Sounds like a Roku fanboy and all that stuff. There's two things that I've misjudged in my life. Just kind of looked at here along the lines. One is How I Met Your Mother. Okay, I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. This thing's going to last 6 episodes. 9 years later, just to end up at the beginning. What is the time that was? 2 was I started this podcast 12 years ago as a project for the Internet Archive. And I had to restart it 2 years ago because why? The Roku's still here. Now, will it be here 10 years from now? Am I still doing this podcast for the Internet Archive? Who knows? I might not even be here in 10 years. You know what? Roku might outlive me. It's too big to be absorbed by anybody. And really, it would have to there'd have to be such a shift in something in the streaming world here for it to collapse on its own. So I don't get the whole is Roku in trouble type of thing. Because other than the little blip here now with YouTube TV, here's 2 scenarios that I see that could really put a dent in Roku, and that is if Netflix and Disney said pass. Okay, now Disney kind of has a thing with Apple. They kind of have a pseudo-marriage going on there, at least a marriage of convenience. But in that, Netflix kind of spawned Roku, so I can't even see them kind of just saying, see ya, later, bye. So, it's a nice thought, but as far as Roku goes, they got to just open up the doors and they say, can we come in? And everyone is like, hello, we're here. And Roku's like, come on in. Some people, like HBO Max, want to do certain things, want certain deals for themselves that they think they should be like Netflix. But it all worked out. And it will all work out. That's what we do here on Me and My Roku. Okay, kids, gather around. Not too close, because one, it's not all that necessary to get right up on each other. But just come a little closer here. Let's have a little chit-chat, a little discussion. The early internet was a unique place, brimming with possibilities, new innovations, and neon blinking text. But in just a few decades, thousands of iconic websites have either disappeared or become nearly unrecognizable. Luckily for the nostalgic, the Wayback Machine is an unmatched tool for exploring the internet of yesteryear. Here are a few places to start if you're looking for a trip down memory lane. Remember GeoCities? How about AOL? Or MySpace? I might even still have a MySpace page. I should check that out. And Yahoo Answers. The Wayback Machine contains more than 475 billion web pages, and more are being added every day, making it the perfect way to revisit digital memories from Friendster to Facebook and Alta Vista to Amazon. The Internet Archive has preserved 25 years of web history for the curious and nostalgic citizens everywhere. Enjoy exploring. Check it out today at archive.org, the Wayback Machine. And that has provided the bandwidth of this podcast and all my podcasts that I have done since 2005. Not just almost 25 years there as well. Woo-hoo-hoo. Check that out today, archive.org. I'm a little crazy. I'm a little nutso, I just do crazy things. And those crazy things pay me in gift cards that I use to get my streaming services. And it's just like I keep adding stuff. It's like, I need a budget. I don't need all this stuff. But I can't help it because it pays for itself. One of the things I do, and I'm doing very well at it right now, this is the kind of the golden quarter for advertising along those lines. Check it out today, swagbucks.radioaffliction.com. Use that link right there, just as I've said it. Or click on the link where you get this podcast. And you can get started today for yourself for whatever you need. Maybe you want to get a streaming service for yourself, get a gift card for that. You can do that, or just save on shopping. These things that you do normally are available there to swagbucks.radioaffliction.com. And if you're feeling nostalgic, feeling like you need to go back in time, check out the Wayback Machine at archive.org. Sound reasons have no seasons. Okay, quick follow-up on my previous segment there with the big boys. Discovery CEO says merger with Warner Media will give them a library as big or bigger than Netflix. That's right, they'll put them in a position to leverage its intellectual property to nourish audiences around the world. Do you think that Discovery would merge with AT&T Warner if there wasn't a Roku? That they would just deal with Google and Amazon and Apple? No, you need Roku. Sorry. It's quick updates around the house here. I finally got my situation fixed with Paramount Plus. I know you were on pins and needles wondering how's Pete doing with that. I had an issue when I canceled Paramount Plus last spring. Fall shows are back now. NCIS Hawaii has premiered. And, did Leroy Jethro Gibbs, did his blow up? Is he okay? Well, we found out with episode 1 of season 19 of NCIS. Thanks to Paramount Plus. Whew. Yes, a little issue. It couldn't connect. And it was weird. And I had to write a very terse email. But it got resolved. And everything's fine now. And breaking news here. I had to make an executive decision. I haven't even told the little missus yet. But we mentioned last week that Amazon can no longer, as part of its agreement with HBO, if I have HBO Max on Amazon, they can no longer do the subscriptions through Amazon. So HBO was going to be losing a lot of subscriptions. They were like, well, if I can't subscribe through Amazon to get HBO, I'm just not going to do it anymore. That's one thought. So what is HBO Max doing? For everybody, not just the people who subscribe through Amazon. HBO Max, ad-free, half price. $7.49 for 6 months. I don't need it. I don't want it. Can I use my Apple credits? yes, I can. And yes, I did. $7.49 HBO Max until March of 2022. That means I'm going to get NHL hockey on HBO Max. What I do for you people, I tell you. Now I have to reorganize and rebudget my Apple credits now. I might have to let something go. I might have to... Discovery Plus, you're in trouble. But maybe not. Who knows? It's hard to say. It's me and my Roku. I'll do what I want. Some quick news and notes here because I haven't done a news, notes, and stuff podcast for the last couple of days just to catch up on everything. Speaking of Viacom CBS, they are touting the international push for Paramount Plus. Yay. Netflix acquiring Ronald Dahl Story Company. He's the author who wrote, well, several things, but, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and different things, so that'll be interesting. Netflix suggests that they would consider sports if they could control the source. So on the headline here, it's showing auto racing on there, so I guess they would want to have to control some sort. So don't look for the NFL on Amazon, I don't think. Comcast announcing a 4K global streaming device. Okay. We talked about Disney Plus. Shang-Chi will arrive on Disney Plus November 12th. Okay. Peacock greenlighting a new streaming service version of Pitch Perfect. Okay. Netflix's first VR game, Eden Unearthed. Oh, well, that's on Oculus Quest, though. They're not doing that. Pluto adding new channels, as they always do. Netflix previews interactive Escape the Undertaker, featuring WWE stars. I saw a preview on that on Netflix. It was kind of freaky. Sling. Oh, I'm going to do this in honor of the late Norm Macdonald. Good news, bad news. Good news, Sling subscribers can watch Pac-12 Network for free this weekend. The bad news is you have to watch the Pac-12 Network. We miss you, Norm Macdonald. Report, streaming will play a larger role in the next NASCAR TV contract. Well, I'll be on the edge of my seat for that. I don't have a problem with that NASCAR, really. I mean, I used to watch it. I used to, when there was no football, it was every Sunday then. It just kind of replaced football there for a while, but then it just got tiring. And why, you raced there one time, why are you racing there again? You raced there once already. Done, wait till next year. Too many races. There we have it, folks. I think I've wasted enough of your time. If there's just a free preview of HBO Max on YouTube TV, though, and Paramount Plus will broadcast the UEFA World Cup qualifying matches. Women's World Cup qualifying matches, I should add to that. And that's okay because they have the Champions League and the UEFA Europa Cup, so it seems like a natural fit. And I had one other big story here. Oh, yes. Oh, you were wondering, hey, Pete, where can I get my Indian Premier League cricket? Well, fear no longer. It is on ESPN+. And quite frankly, I might check that out. I don't mind cricket, actually. I don't mind foreign sports. Australian rules football, cricket, rugby. When I watch rugby, I think, well, why aren't they playing football? And there's a little bit of cricket. It's like, well, why don't you just play baseball? There's a little bit of that. But, hey, I like sports. And sometimes it just, or it's even background, especially with cricket. They all talk in the microphone. They talk quiet like this. Distribution Solutions, a division of Alliance Entertainment, announced a new deal with Pluto TV to bring over 450 hours of content from its partners to the free streaming service. The new content will include kid-friendly shows and movies like The Cat in the Hat and Benji. Classics like the original Gone in 60 Seconds. That's a classic. Okay. And Gumby, and true crime, including the Becoming Evil docuseries and the recent indie horror titles like Hostile and Open 24 Hours. So, again, it just feels to me like Pluto TV is this big balloon. But I guess it can just keep going. And, folks, it's free. The ads aren't that terribly intrusive. I like Tubi's a little better because it at least tells you when a commercial is coming, and it's usually at correct points. But I tell you, it's there. Okay, I'm getting a little itchy, a little twitchy. I have to tell the little misses about the HBO Max news. I got to get to that. So I thank you so much for joining me today here, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I enjoyed doing it for you. You just keep right here on this feed right here, and I'll get back to you on the News Notes and Stuff podcast as well. Check that out as daily as possible for me. There's only so many hours in a day for me. They've got a lot going on, but it's okay. It's fun. So meandmyroku.com, you can check it out if you like. I'm doing better about Facebook. I've done some updates in there, and then when I see things like, is Roku in trouble type of thing, I'm going to start putting that stuff on there, and even some videos along with that. So check that out at facebook.com/meandmyroku. I know people have issues with Facebook. I understand, and I get it. There's still 3 billion people on it that I just have to reach, and that's just the easiest thing for me to do right now. Special thanks to archive.org. I enjoy everything that they do, and they're celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Wayback Machine, so check that out today at archive.org. Please subscribe to this podcast. You'll get the News, Notes, and Stuff podcast and this fine podcast whenever I come out with them. Subscribe today on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, look out for TuneIn, Amazon Music, Ghana, JioSaavn, Himalaya, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartMedia, Podbean, Pandora, and Odyssey. Follow me on Twitter at Radio Affliction and on Instagram at Pierre Argyle. And please feel free to be part of the show or the program or just anything, just questions, comments, anything along those lines. Just say hi. Or tell me, what is your favorite advertising video on demand service? The free stuff. Do you like, what is it, Tubi? I know Hector told me it was Freebie TV. I tried it out. It's just okay. Which one do you like? You give me we'll do a little poll here. Stir? Do you like Stir? Zumo? Tell me. Email me at meandmyrokupodcast@gmail.com. Hey, I hope you are enjoying you and your Roku as much as I'm enjoying me and my Roku. And I'll be back with you real soon.